We just keep wondering where you're going to show up.
So Hunter Burton with that Molten Zoo deck has now taken game 2 from Yuya Watanabe.
Yeah.
So 2 games to 0.
I mean, clearly. Look at this. Oh, yeah.
So it sounds like we're going to get an update on the Kibler-Papasaros match.
I like compulsively shuffle things, so... Like when I'm at a bar, I'll shuffle coasters.
We see Paulo Vitor Damadurosa tutoring for Dark Depths with Teleria West. There's so much tutoring available for the Dark Depths deck.
Yeah, it really does a tremendous amount of redundancy.
Yeah, you have the Teleria West to get the land. You have the Muddle the Mixtures to get the Vampire Hexmage. There's Beseech the Queen if you'd like to play that.
Okay.
There's a Countryside Crusher from Ikeda. I saw a black-white-green version of the Dark Depths deck that was running Shred Memory as its transmute card. I actually saw Gabriel Nassif get his Gifts Ungiven shredded, in a match in the feature match area.
All right, Paulo is up 2 games to 1. If he manages to put one more win together, he's through to the semis. Is this another transmute?
That looks like a transmuted Muddle the Mixture, where he's going for the Vampire Hexmage.
Yeah, that would do it. So now we've watched him on successive turns tutor for both halves of his combo. He's got a Dark Depths into his hand. He's got a Hexmage into his hand.
And we know that Ikeda doesn't have anything in his hand. But
right. I mean, Paulo thought seized him on the first turn. Took the Knight, which takes Ghost Quarter out of play. Ikeda had 1 copy of Ghost Quarter in his sideboard, so he's able to bring that in and then potentially tutor it up with a Knight.
But he knows that there's Otherworldly Journey in Ikeda's sideboard, and he has to give that card some consideration. Yeah, he has to respect the fact that
Ikeda may have drawn some stuff. Paulo is really good at sort of waiting till the last possible moment to go off and to set up as much defense as possible. I watched him playing against Martin Yuza.
Right. I was going to ask
you. It was just this awesome match. Like, Paulo draws up a hand of 7, and I'm looking over his shoulder, and he's got everything. He's got the Chrome Mox, he's got the Hexmage, he's got the Dark Depths. Like, he can actually go off on the first turn. And he just thinks, and he thinks, and he thinks. And eventually, he's thinking about mulliganing, and so, Yuza's probably putting him on kind of a borderline hand. He eventually keeps, and he leads on first turn with just comes into play, tap Teleria West. Okay, so now here's Dark Depths for Paulo, so it looks like we may see some action. Oh, Brian Kibler equalizes it, 2 games apiece. They're going to be going to 5.
It really looks like hard to imagine a scenario where Paulo loses this.
Yeah, Paulo looks to be in good shape here. He's got Muddle of the Mixture backup. That's the thing. Like in the story against Yuza, that was the other thing. He decided instead of going for it on turn 1, he could go for it on turn 3 with Muddle the Mixture backup. And so, set up where he doesn't lose the path. The Zoo deck can't beat you in 2 turns, so really, really just learned so much about Magic watching somebody like Paulo play. So good. Precise and sort of sees ways to eke out that last edge where, I'm going to win even if you have your answer card.
Plays a Pithing Needle.
What is he?
Discarded Beseech the Queen to Chrome Mox to get an extra mana source.
So what does he needle here?
They often want to catch
He's in it, well...
Oh. He's going to force Ikeda to react.
His fetch land. This...
I like Banning.
Might actually not be enough.
Although it didn't do well for apparently.
I think Ikeda wins this as I'm looking at it. Paulo's down to 7. He's got a Lightning Helix in it, but he can muddle the Helix. He's dead on board actually to damage.
Mage, but I figured
and he knows the
2
Helix is there as well.
Plus a Helix.
So this is what Paulo's been preparing for. He knows that Helix is there. He knows what his life total is.
Interesting.
So if Ikeda has a second...
All right, he names Ghost Quarter.
Yeah.
I have no to throw lands. But it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Ikeda points out that he can't actually draw a Ghost Quarter.
We're going to go watch that decider in the Kibler matchup, by the way. We'll definitely won't let Game 5 start without getting you over there to watch.
All right, well, okay.
All right. Paulo studies things up. There's the Lightning Helix, which, like we said, Paulo was prepared for. Muddle the mixture.
But now if he draws an otherworldly journey...
Right. That was his defense, so... It's the Ghost Quarter.
There's the Path to Exile.
Oh, Path to Exile off the top. Yeah, the Countryside Crusher lets him keep going until he hits a spell. He's able to get his token, but Path will deprive Paulo of his token. Hard to imagine how. Nope.
Wow.
And Ikeda sends that one to Game 5.
He had to draw
a couple of Game 5s are going. Oh, it sounds like Kibler has gone for a restroom break, so we'll probably just stay here. Watch this. Maybe watch this Game 5 first. Interesting. So Paulo took the first two in this?
He did take the first two, and then Ikeda's come back. All right, but both players played that game, to my eyes, perfectly.
I didn't see anything, that's for sure.
And Ikeda said, you have the model. I'll try to kill you now.
Yep.
And if not, I'll hope to draw the right card on my turn.
Yeah.
We
These guys are quite good. I mean, like we said, there's now 8 Pro Tour top 8s between these two guys.
Yeah. And,
pretty impressive players.
And it's funny. It's always amazing to me. I mean, Ikeda, after 10 years, seems to be playing some of his strongest Magic now. I don't know if you remember, but he had a strong finish in Hollywood, playing the crazy mono red Shaman deck.
Oh, that's right. That deck was cool.
Yeah.
So he was playing with Rage Forgers and finished deep into the money. I don't remember if it was a top 32 or a top 16.
He got a bit of a slouch going, kind of staring at the table.
I think he thought that was his game.
Yeah. He had the whole combo stitched together with the muddle backup. He's normally he normally wins those games. Ikeda looks so happy, smiling, sitting up.
But he looked happy when he was in the hole.
Well, that's probably true. But, I mean, it grates on you a little bit. Paulo was up 2-0, thought he had it. And Paulo's last time he appeared on Sunday, he was really frustrated. He had a huge edge against Jamie Park at Worlds.
He was extremely advantaged.
Like, he had the Fairies deck against kind of a bad version of a control deck that
had
sacrificed the Fairies matchup anyway.
And had lost more matches than it had won.
Right. Jamie Park got to that top 8 on the basis of the other formats, not Standard. He went like 2-3-1 in Standard, I believe.
2-3-1, yes.
And like everybody concluded their like Rock's Warmonk was just the wrong way to build that control deck by the end once the results were in. And yet there Jamie was, shuffling up, and he knocked out Paulo. Went on to finish second at Worlds. So Paulo has not had the best Sunday success. Like he's got to be a little bit frustrated at some level. Right? He doesn't even have a finals appearance. Has he made the semis yet in 4 appearances?
Didn't they make a finals appearance in Charleston? Or was that Japanese on Japanese?
Yeah. That's right. Part of Ralapumba in that team.
But I don't believe he has an individual's finals appearance. Although he did win Brazilian Nationals this year. He's the Brazilian National Champion for 2009.
Which is relevant to the Player of the Year race because he gets the extra opportunity to pick up some pro points at Worlds.
Well, so does Yuya Watanabe and Shuhei Nakamura.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, Paulo trying to claw his way back into the race. He's up to 7th. He sort of closed the gap with that pack of 6 people, but needs to pick up another 1 or 2 if he wants to be right in the thick of the Player of the Year race. There you get a look at Ikeda's hand. Paulo's the one thinking about a mulligan. Paulo really staring at that hand, trying to figure out whether that's the hand he wants for Game 5.
No, you described the Martin Juza...
Yeah, it could be that he's thinking about his turn 1 play.
Can you tell that story? That's sort of the story behind the story of him.
Sure.
Maybe I could go off on turn 1.
Right. Paulo is thinking, during mulligan, stares at his hand, Juza's staring over, puts him on a mulligan debate. Well, this time it is a mulligan debate. Paulo decides to cash it in. But in that game, Paulo goes off, and when the game ends, Juza looks at him, he's like, what were you thinking about? And Paulo says, I was trying to figure out what to play on turn 1. And it's but then? He's like, yeah, I mean, if he goes into the tank on turn 1, then he telegraphs his hand. He can't, keep and then think about it. Now he gives so much information to Martin. So, yeah, really smart. Juza pumps the fist from the back table when he hears that Burton is up 2-0 on Watanabe. Yeah, Juza's really taking this Player of the Year race seriously.
Yeah, and he came into this.
He wants it.
When I talked to him about it on camera,
yeah,
he was He played it cool. He's like, I just want to be level 8. That's all I really want. That's all I'm worried about.
Sure.
But off camera, he has been like, do I draw with Yuya if I could draw? Do I try to knock him out? Does he try to knock me out?
Right.
And in his mind, it is a 2-player race.
Ah. Well, they are 1-2 at this point. Yeah. And they are definitely 2 of the hottest players on tour, 2 of the best players on tour.
It was not very close to 1-2 coming into this tournament.
Well, no, Yuya had the slight lead at 1, and Martin was around 6th, but only 8 points back.
Right.
So by making this top 8, Yuya has leapfrogged Nassif and LSV and Saito and Shuhei Nakamura.
He doesn't even have to show up.
Ooh, Paulo mulligans again.
So-
He's headed down to 5. Both hands had Dark Depths as their only land.
Right, and Dark Depths does not actually produce mana unless you have an Urborg in play.
Yeah. It's actually one of the reasons they run 4 Urborgs is they really would like Dark Depths to tap for black.
Yeah, you can't really count it as a land.
Right.
You have to count that as a spell
Spell
slot.
Exactly.
No, whatever, it's like that. Look at my life total things. Like, oh,
All right, Paulo not feeling real good about the mulligan to 5. Looks like Ikeda might be able to come all the way back. And up on table A, Kibler may also be able to come all the way back.
Remarkable.
After a Grand Prix where I got second, he came up to me. He's just
Dark,
like,
dark blast?
please don't ever
That's
cheat.
why they played 3 out of 5.
But again, Paulo's playing a very powerful common deck. He won't be able to go off on turn 1. He just wouldn't have enough cards.
Sure.
But
yeah, it
certainly-
doesn't not like he needs a giant hand in order to
Look at
win.
these 80, it's ridiculous. Like, some of them are, like, marked out of the pack, and then you need, like,
He needs 2 cards and 2 additional lands to go off. Are those the cards?
thankfully, they gave me 2 packs yesterday, so. Broken sleeve.
Kibler has returned from a restroom break, still shuffling up. Like we said, we'll make sure you get game 5 there. They're off to the races. Talaria
I had to
West
go
on
buy
turn 1
sleeves
for
during
Paulo.
one of my rounds yesterday because I broke a sleeve and I was out of replacement.
Library now? Man.
Look at this, throw it in the
And
card.
Ikeda.
This is a chalice for 1.
Ooh, Chalice for 1. Yeah, that takes a bunch of creatures out of play. It also takes Path out of play.
Well, we'll be sleeving for, like, this game.
By the way, that's not a card Martin
This is
Juza
my
wants
bad
to see if they were to both emerge from this bracket.
Chalice.
Chalice
Martin
for-
Zoo deck is 16 1-drops. Oh, Paulo's hand is explosives, threads, and muddle the mixture.
It doesn't sound like it leaves a lot of room for lands.
No, nor combo parts. All right, so Ikeda plays.
Tarmogoyf?
Is that Tarmogoyf? Tarmogoyf. So it's a 1 power right now?
Ta-da.
Paulo plays an Orborg.
All the time?
And a Threads.
What? Seriously?
My Tarmogoyf.
Yeah, Threads steals the Tarmogoyf.
Did you really draw the dark blast?
Ikeda plays a third land, cracks that fetch.
Seriously? Why?
Long delay for a ruling in the match between Yuza and Shimizu. Oh, interesting.
Oh,
Shimizu
very
had
complex.
Dark Blast targeting Yixela Jailer and was trying to figure out whether or not the bridge from below would get removed from the graveyard when the Yixela Jailer went to the graveyard. The ruling is they do not.
Happy times for Shimizu.
Yeah. His bridges do not have any text, so that they don't see the fact that the Jailer has died.
So we have a Countryside Crusher for Tsuyoshi Ikeda.
Yep. So this is game 5. The winner of this goes to the semis. Will it be Paulo
This is ridiculous.
making more progress in the Player of the Year race, or will it be Ikeda?
The destroyer of sleeves.
Be interesting. The Hexmage can remove
Transmuting Muddle for Paulo.
Hexmage can remove all the counters from a Countryside Crusher.
Oh, that's funny.
I don't know if that would possibly be relevant.
That could be one of the quests we had this weekend. I liked your idea that we would all pick a quest at the beginning of the weekend, something we wanted to see. What was the one you had?
My quest is I wanted to see someone remove all 10 counters from Dark Depths the Fairway.
Yeah, I almost saw it.
Yeah.
I saw 7 counters removed.
I saw 9.
You saw 9.
I saw 9. I did not see anyone fully pull it off. We were calling that the full friggin' expedition.
Yeah, John friggin' Rizzo did manage to cast Dark Depths the hard way twice in a side draft. He was part of the coverage team for
U.S. Nationals.
U.S. Nationals when we were in Atlanta.
A kids trading card game.
I may have been on the losing end of those two 2020s.
You may have signed that Dark Depth.
Yeah, I did.
Sort
That's
of
true.
like online. Except you can actually, there's codes in the cards. And you can upload.
All right, well, Paolo transmutes for a Hex Mage.
In packs online.
He's got Orborg, Underground River.
Yeah, and it's
All right, there's a
cartoon.
Tarmogoyf off the top for
Yeah.
Akeda. No
I used to
counters for
work-
the
I used to
Countryside
work for
Crusher.
that. I was head developer for the WoW card game. So,
I haven't seen that, but yeah.
that's actually what Craig was talking about, the tournament that was here last weekend.
So 2-3 Tarmogoyf now with the muddle in the yard.
Yep, not quite big enough for blocking.
Yeah, all I do is play games. It's a rough life. And break sleeves, apparently. Those are my two full-time jobs.
It's interesting how Akeda's hand is mostly 2s and 3s.
He was obviously aware of Chalice. I mean, this was something that Tsuyoshi was aware of in the construction of this deck, was that Chalice was a problem for him.
Yeah,
So it was a problem for the Zoo deck, not necessarily as much for this deck.
I was watching Marcel Zafra in the Swiss. He was in top 8 contention deep in, and he would always set his Chalices to 2 against the Zoo decks.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, no, he was more of like a trinket control. I mean, he could get the mana to pull it off a little more reliably than these Dark Depth decks can. They can't necessarily wait for 4 mana. But yeah, he would usually have Chalice 2 and play against the Zoo players. Yeah, it was almost never Chalice 1.
Yeah.
So that's a 4-4 Knight of the Reliquary that's come down on
Yeah, I mean, I think your matchup, obviously the dredge decks are
Ikeda's side of the table.
and the others do
And,
that. They have
Get a go from
that
Apollo.
doesn't do anything. Yeah, that doesn't do anything. They
Countryside
can't kill
Crusher
you.
refuses to see any
The
land.
Tribal Flames can kill you pretty fast.
Yeah, but I can probably kill them faster, so.
Well, I mean, like if you don't have if they're going first and you don't have a turn 2, like I guess you kill their land. Yeah, you actually have a very different plan than a lot of them. Like you don't actually have to kill them that
I
turn.
obliterate them,
You,
so-
yeah, you just destroy their land, so they can't
And
take
then
the tribal
everything's
flame.
fair.
So interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ah, Yu Watanabe has taken a game from Hunter Burton. So that one's headed to 4.
Everyone else is
See if Watanabe can come all the way back, like Akeda is attempting to, and Kibler is attempting to. Meanwhile,
Oh, did
Use
did he offer the draw?
Well, after I won, but the thing is, I wasn't.
yeah, Yuza v. Shimizu still at 1-1 because of the big delay.
So I wanted to give him the draw, but
So active Knight now means Ghost Quarter is an
you
issue
know how to-
for Paulo.
True.
So the Knight can, at instant speed, sacrifice a Plains or a Forest, go get a Ghost Quarter, and even with a Hex Mage on the table, strip the Dark Depths in response to the Hex Mage's ability.
Well, you don't do it in response to the Hex Mage. You wait for the Hex Mage to resolve. You put the trigger on the stack,
Sure. Yeah.
and then kill it.
So really, if Paulo is at a point now with the Ghost Quarter in sort of relevant,
Yep.
he needs 2 Hex Mages. And a
No,
Dark
2 Hex Mages doesn't do it.
2
That's
Hex
my
Mages
point.
won't even do it?
You cannot because assuming the Ghost Quarter
because you
player
wait till the
plays
sec-
it correctly and waits for the trigger to go on the stack, the second Hex Mage doesn't help you. Second Hex Mage is only useful if they mess up and try to Ghost
Got
Quarter's
it.
response to the Hex Mage.
So if they play it like I would have played it.
Right. I mean, we had this conversation on Friday, and I did the same logic you did. I'm like, oh, Hex Mage, they Ghost Quarter, you Hex Mage's response. But no, it doesn't work, assuming the Ghost Quarter player is smart enough to let the Hex Mage resolve, wait for the counters to go, Dark Depths triggers, now there's nothing for the second Hex Mage to do. Right? That can only ever trigger once.
And if the land's not sacrificed to the ability, the Merit Lage never comes into play.
Exactly. So yeah, Paulo's answer to this is Pithing Needle.
I'll play first.
It's got Besiege the Queen to potentially go get it.
Says
Can also, I guess, explosives for 3? He's just blue and black mana. I don't know if he can
I don't think he has a way to get
deal
a
with the
third color.
knight. It's also only 1 Ghost Quarter in Akeda's deck. He can, in theory, feed 1 Dark Depths to it, and
Right.
the second one will work.
Akeda points to the Chalice. Nice card.
That's completely disingenuous, right? It's doing almost nothing, and Ikeda's trying to trick him.
He's got a dead Nikadal, and he's got a dead Path in hand.
Yeah, Dead Path is relevant, that's for sure. Transmute Muddle. What does he get here? Does he have a 2-mana answer to this whole Ghost Quarter problem?
How about a Doomblade?
Oh, Doomblade, sure. There you go.
Doomblade guy will be
Yeah,
happy.
this is why Doomblade's available, right? You want to be able to muddle for a creature removal spell, so it's got to cost 2. Transmute Muddle for. Yeah.
Okay, this is-
Right. Kata goes ahead and uses his Knight.
Puts a counter on.
Countryside
Red
Crusher,
Crusher.
because the land goes to the graveyard.
He's got a 4/4 and a 5/5 right now. 1 Doomblade to account for them both. Paulo's at 13.
Yeah, yeah. He's got to jump block out of that Tarmogoyf at some point. Ikeda goes ahead and gets the Ghost Quarter. So game 5 between Japanese store owner and Pro Tour regular Tsuyoshi Ikeda and Brazilian national champion Paulo Vitor Dama-da-Rosa.
So
2 games apiece. A winner goes through to the semis.
Paulo Doomblade's the crusher. See, he doesn't.
Oh, Doomblade's the crusher.
Because Tsuyoshi is very happy to mill past all his lands and guaranteed hit a spell this turn.
Yep, and now that the Ghost Quarter is in play, so
That's the
Knight of the
last-
Reliquary has been reduced to merely being a big dude.
Yeah. So Paulo does not want to see a steady stream of spells coming off of Ikeda's deck.
Sure. Knight's still big enough to attack for
For 4, 5? 5.
5 right now. At some point, Paulo probably winds up chump blocking with Tarmogoyf, and Knight's a decent-sized clock. No, it's time to chump block with Tarmogoyf.
A much bigger.
Naoki seems to be going off in Game 3 with his Dredge deck. Was able to Dark Blast away the Ixalan Jailer. Now he's got Iona in play.
Obviously, a Dread returned,
Sure.
locking Martin Jews out of a color. So no play from Ikeda, who has Tarmogoyf and
And no play from Dama-da-Rosa.
Spectral Procession in hand.
14-9.
And Geonophers.
Yeah, see Nikadal.
Spectral Procession, Tarmogoyf, Lightning Helix. Here's a repeal on Knight of the Reliquary.
Aha.
Remember, Paulo started this game on 5, so he doesn't have all the pieces he necessarily needs. He's been working shorthanded.
Yeah, we saw him
it looks like
transmute
he
for
has-
Hexmage.
Looks like he has all the pieces.
Well, he's just got to get around the Ghost Quarter, right? Hexmage, Dark Depth, Slaughter Pact, Engineer Explosives. That lets him go off once, but does not deal with the Ghost Quarter problem.
I was kind of surprised more players didn't have Grim Discovery. We saw that in some of the gift packages that had the Dark Depths combo, but Grim Discovery for 2 mana, also transmutable,
Right.
lets you get back a land and a creature, which is
Like a Hexmage?
coincidentally a Hexmage and a Dark Depths.
Sure. It's just like reboot the combo. All right, Shimizu does lead 2-1.
Martin Jews has got his work cut out for him if he's going to overtake Yuya Watanabe like he predicted.
Yeah, Ikeda has replayed his Knight.
What do you think?
And he's going to add Tarmogoyf to the equation, or no? He adds
Is that Pride Mage?
Quasali Pride Mage, and he can now take out the Chalice.
Yep.
Obviously.
Hard to imagine quite how Paulo stitches it together.
Ended up at 1 or not, but it doesn't make it any better.
Ghost Quarter looming large on.
Yep. The one
You
Ghost
just-
Quarter.
You decide.
Knight fetched it out.
Well, 1 Ghost Quarter 4 Knight of the Reliquary, right?
Right. The real, such an efficient use of a sideboard card slot. It's
Awkward.
only 1/15 of your sideboard, but in the matchup where it matters, you get 5 ways to get it into play.
Yeah, she have won that game.
I'll play first.